Coach Milt here for another NCAA Cross Country Championships back in Madison. I think first time since 2018 for champs. What's it feel like to be back here?
Oh, it's great, man. This is the most fun day of the year. This is as good as it gets. Where else would you rather be?
I mean, it depends on if it was like yesterday or today, I guess, right?
Yeah, we weren't here yesterday, so seems pretty good today.
Well, what's the vibe for the team coming in the championships for you guys?
It's good. It's good. Yeah, got men and women both in a good spot right now. I think our guys, we have 5 guys that have been with us since the beginning. Our first recruiting class, our second recruiting class are now 4th and 5th year guys, and so it's really cool to think about where we were when they came to where we are now, and that you've got guys that are old and dependable, and so yeah, it's a pretty exciting spot to be. And the same thing on the women, we've got both a young and old group that complement each other well. And our women didn't make it a year ago, so to be back now and coming on is exciting. Yeah.
Especially coming off of the Southeast Regionals on the men's and women's side, were very competitive on both sides. How are they feeling after that, coming into this, health-wise and all that stuff?
Yeah, they're good. I mean, the Southeast Regional was interesting because it got really hot. Like, we didn't run till almost noon. It was muddy. And so it just got sneaky hard. Like, and you go in there and you want it to not be hard, but you have to be ready for it to be hard, and it got sneaky hard, and I think we actually handled it really, really well. And then you just take this whole week and get recovered, and I think we're pretty good coming off that now.
You're talking about on the guys' side. It's this group that you've kind of recruited and brought in, and they've been here for all this growth. I went to Clemson, and I remember I wanted to go to UNC, and I wasn't good enough at the time and all these things. But I always remember there was a vibe out there that was like, man, UNC is a school that could be great. Obviously, it's got the brand name, recognition, all this stuff, but it took a while. You got there, and you've I don't want to say you've done it and you've won everything, but you've done it where you've grown this group of guys. They've become really relevant. Obviously, Parker had an amazing year last year. Like, what was it that you saw when you got there to help kind of get the UNC Tarheels to now this national level?
I appreciate that, man. We said the same thing. We thought it was the biggest sleeping giant in our sport, and that really, particularly middle distance and distance running, there was this huge potential that maybe had never really been tapped into on the men's side. The women, there's certainly some high history when Shalane was there, and but we thought it could be really good. And I would say with our guys, like, it was really 3 groups that came together. We had a handful of guys that were on the team when we got there that really bought into what we wanted to do. Like Jesse Hunt, John Tatter. We had some really impactful graduate transfers that if we didn't get those guys, we would never have accelerated the way we did. So Thomas Ratcliffe, Alex Osberg, Jack Aho, those guys came. And then there were the guys in our first 2 recruiting classes who came in when those grad transfers came. And I think you put all 3 of those groups together at the same time, and it just really, really took off together. And so if we did anything right, it was get the right collection of people on the bus and let them drive it forward. And then you get a guy like Parker, Ethan Strand. Those guys aren't who they are now if Alex Osberg, Thomas Ratcliffe, Jack Aho weren't here when they came. And so it's this really cool lineage of a bunch of guys who bought into this idea we could get something going. And now it's really starting to happen. And we're excited about the idea of, like, I'm an East Coast guy, went to the West Coast, came back. If you look, so many of these teams are heavily mountain and West Coast dominated. It's like, can we do it on the East Coast too? And can we plant the flag as an East Coast team that can compete? And in our mind, like, we're not there yet. Like, we've made it a long way from where we were, but, like, we want to be the best team in America. Like, we want to be the best team in America, and we're not there yet, but that's certainly what we think we can get to over the next several years.
We mentioned Parker Wolfe there. Obviously, we saw him win Nuttycombe earlier this year. Where's he at now, going into NCAAs, and among one of those people that could be in that individual fight there?
Yeah, Parker's had a tough last month. This will, I think, in 5 years, we will look back and this will have been the most important season in his growth and development, because for the 3 years he's been in North Carolina, he's literally not missed a day, right? And everything has gone more or less like smoothly to plan. I mean, literally maybe one day he got sick his freshman year, and other than that, it's been smooth all the way through. And after running off Nuttycombe here, he had some issues with his foot. He really missed about 3 weeks of running. And his ability to handle that has been incredible, right? Like, everybody can do it when things are going perfectly. Everybody can do it when the progression is smooth. And the reality is, if you're going to be world class, you're going to have periods where it doesn't go perfectly. He's never had to do that. And as I told him yesterday, I said, you were given a test, and you have already aced the test with flying colors, right? If your goal is to be world class, what you've done over the last 6 weeks showed you got all the tools to do it. So just go out and see what we can go do tomorrow, And truthfully, yeah, did he miss some time? Yeah. And the razor thin margin at the top of this thing is so slight that Might cost him. We'll see. But he's going to certainly put his nose in it for sure and then keep getting better all year long. But yeah, I'm actually, you know, I when I have a guy like him, and I always think about, okay, my job is how do I set this guy up to be world class the next 10 years? And every decision we make is in that framework. And how he's handled this showed me, as good as I knew he was, like he's going to be even better than that going forward.
So he was ninth here two years in a row.
2 in a row, yep.
But last year, NCAA title on the track, almost made an Olympic team.
Yep.
So even him, maybe not at 100%, how do you look at him compared to this ninth place guy the last 2 years?
I'd say he's better. No, 100% he is better. The field's also way better too, right? Like 100% he is better, and the field got way better. Like I think his ninth in Stillwater, you know, then he was ninth at Charlottesville. His ninth in Charlottesville was worth way more than his ninth in Stillwater because the field got better. Well, then it got better again this year. And so I think he's way better. The field is way better. He'll be there for sure. You know, the one thing about Parker is he will put himself in it no matter what. And so he'll be there with 1,000 to go, and then we'll see how the chips fall.
You mentioned the field is way better, every given year. Going into tomorrow, both on the men's side and the women's side, how, from your perspective as a coach, how do you expect those races to play out?
They're going to be hard. We rewatched the video from 2018 when, I had Grant almost won, Morgan McDonald got him, and you watch that, and then you think about how the front of this race is going to go tomorrow with the international contingent pressing from the front, and we are living in a different era than 6 years ago when we were here, and I think it's going to be hard and pressing, and that's good. Like, that's what we want. That's what ultimately, none of us want it to be easy, and we've got this huge influx of international talent that's just raising the bar, and that's how we see it. Like, it's just raising the bar and making us all better, too. But, yeah, I think you got to be excited for it to be hard early and hard in the middle and hard at the end.
And so, are you preparing for that? Because I was going to ask what kind of race suits this team well, but it sounds like the mindset is, hey, we got to be prepared for this thing to go from the gun.
Yeah, I think you have to be prepared for that. And then I actually haven't gone out yet to see how muddy it is, but I mean, if it's muddy, it's just going to be uncomfortable the entire way. And that's the whole thing with this meet that's different, I think, than a lot of years. You have to be excited for it to never settle in and feel relaxed. And that's even something we felt coming off our regional meet. Like, I've been in situations where the regional meet feels really good and it's easy. And yeah, on one level, that's good because you don't exert yourself that much. On another level, that gives you a false sense of security and comfort that, like, we had the best case last week because our regional got hard in the mud and the heat. So you just are one last reminder of, like, yeah, it's going to be hard the whole way, and that's what you got to be mentally. And I think we are.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited for this thing to kick off tomorrow, and wish you guys all the best on the men's and women's side.
Thanks for having me. It's great to see you guys back out here.